Levy.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Harvey.
Here.
Councilmember Carr.
Here.
Councilmember Matthews.
Here.
Councilmember Saunier.
Here.
Councilmember Sawyer is absent, and Councilmember Schaefer.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. If everybody would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, welcome everybody. We're on agenda item number 4 under ceremonies, presentations, and appointments. Before we get started, I would just like to mention the passing of Lee Willoughby. Those that knew him knew what a great asset he was to our community. You know, the list kind of goes on and on with Lee, and this isn't to eulogize him, but just to kind of say thanks. And when you think of kind and gentle and smart, he's the guy. And I don't know that anybody can really disagree with that. So take a second, think about Lee, and we'll move forward in just a minute. Okay, the next part of this is really, really special also, and I'm going to hand it over to David Buttery.
Thanks, Mayor. About half a year ago, Mayor Levy and I had the opportunity to go to Fort Carson to attend the change of command of our partnership unit, the 4th Engineer Battalion. And prior to the reception, we had the opportunity to meet a delightful young lady. And as we visited with her, we found out that she had an incredible story. That delightful young lady is here with us this evening. She happens to be married to the commander of the 4th Engineer Battalion, and she also happens to be a 2-time gold medal Paralympian winner. So I'd like to invite to the podium I'd like to tell you a little bit about Sean before she tells you some of her story. Sean was a U.S. Army officer, Corps of Engineers officer, and in 2007, she encountered an improvised explosive device that had significant impact on her body. She's turned that tragedy into a miracle, I believe, with a training regimen that started a mere 6 years ago that allowed her to attend the Paralympics in Brazil and win the first gold medal of the 2016 Paralympics for the United States of America. Hopefully many of you followed her as I did on the computer as the race was being run, and it was absolutely thrilling to know that I'd had the chance to shake her hand and wish her good luck at Vino and Notes before she went to the Olympics. So Sean, tell us a little bit about your journey.
As Mr. Buttery said, my journey started, as far as racing was concerned, I did my first race in 2010. But before I was even able to get back on the bike, I had to go through a couple years of physical therapy, some mental therapy. I had to learn how to ride a bike with one eye. I have no depth perception. I'm blind in my left eye. I can't see what is happening to me on the left side of my body. So, as you can imagine, riding a bike in a peloton or even on the road can be a very scary thing for that. Also, I have a traumatic brain injury, so I had to learn to balance, how to walk. I don't feel my right foot or my right hand, which can also affect how you walk, and just being unsure of what you're doing. So I had to figure all that out. And it took me a long time. It took me a long time to get the strength back in the right side of my body. It took me a long time to regain some confidence that I had lost. Because when you're injured and all of a sudden they slap this disabled tag on you, it can be a real confidence killer. So it took me a long time to come back from that, mentally and physically. And there are still many wounds, mentally and physically, that I work through every day. You know, I still do physical therapy 3 days a week. You know, I work with a therapist, not only a sports psychologist, but my everyday psychologist. So I have 2 of those, which if you guys have a psychologist, 1 is probably enough for most people. But it's a lot. It's challenging to be a para-athlete, because the obstacles that we overcome just to excel in our sport are very different than the obstacles an Olympian overcomes to excel at their sport. And our obstacles, most of them have to deal with our injuries and how we deal with them. Because when you're not born with an injury, and even sometimes when you are born with an injury, you go through this phase of extreme anger, because you're angry at the world, you're angry at God, you're angry at your family, because somehow you're put into this spot, and you have to learn how to live with those injuries, and then learn how to fight through those obstacles so that you can still reach your life goals. And about 3 years ago, one of my coaches said, "You're good enough to go to the games," and I laughed, because I didn't believe it. I was like, no, I just like riding my bike and not falling off of it. And then I won some pretty big races that year. It was my first world championship I won that year in Greenville, South Carolina. And I just started to believe. You know what, I can do this cycling thing, and maybe I am good at it. The next year, I won 2 world championships. And then the following year, I won my first world championship on the velodrome, which was a completely new area of cycling for me. I had just learned to ride the velodrome. And I was like, okay, maybe I can go to the games, you know, but I didn't let myself believe that I was going to go until August, when I got the plane ticket that said Rio. Because I just kept thinking, no way are they going to take me? Like, what do I have to offer to the team? And then, like, one of my teammates, Jamie, she was like, "You're number 1 in the world. Why wouldn't we take you?" I'm like, all right, so I'll buy my mom's plane ticket now then. You know, so it was a process. It was a journey, and I couldn't have gone from the recovery process to the podium without my family, without my husband, without my faith, without God. I wouldn't have gone there. I wouldn't have made it through all that, those days of anger, those days of depression and darkness, and I wouldn't have come out the other side. So these medals, people say I'm humble, and I don't know if I'm humble, but I believe my medals belong to more than just me. They belong to my parents. They belong to my family. They belong to my coaches and my doctors. Because without one of them, I wouldn't have made it to the podium. They got me there. So they belong to many more people than me. I just get to wear them more. So that's really all I wanted to share with you guys. If you guys have questions for me, I don't know if we want to do that now or if you want me to stick around later.
Well, let me just ask you a couple of questions, Sean.
Okay.
Because clearly you're an athlete, but were you always a cyclist? What were your sports growing up?
My sports growing up were I played basketball, I played soccer, and I ran. And then when I went to Penn State, I played soccer at Penn State, and I ran with them, but I did not compete in running.
So you were a competitive athlete prior to your time in the Army, so you knew how to prepare, you knew how to do things.
Yes.
But as you became a cyclist, you had to overcome other things, as you've already mentioned, which I think is a pretty powerful testimony.
Yeah, I had to relearn everything.
And you're a Western Pennsylvania
I
gal?
am.
Okay.
Western Pennsylvania.
That's it. They're tough ladies from that part of the country.
There are
that's
definitely some tough ladies. Yeah, Colorado has some of them too. But we have our handful.
What's next for you?
I've already started to focus my training. As far as my long-term goal will be Tokyo 2020. So everything I do this year will be more in a recovery phase. Next year my racing will start to wind up, and then I'll wind up to be selected for the games. So it's kind of we work on what's called quads. because the games are every 4 years. So the year right after the games, for all the athletes that went, is usually kind of more of a low-key year. I get to pick and choose more what I want to do on the bike. Next year, it'll become more regimented by the country, by the governing body, because next year we start to earn what's called country points. And country points, the more country points you earn, the more people you can take to the games. So next year, when we start earning points for the country, then they'll start taking all their A riders to events, and you have less of a choice. And then that gets more restricted the closer you get to the games.
Well, I know one of the things I've learned from having the opportunity to meet you is that when I'm faced with obstacles, they pale in comparison to what you've overcome.
I don't know about that. I think everybody has obstacles in their life, and everybody believes, they're significant. What is significant to me may be insignificant to another person. That does not mean that their troubles or their obstacles are any less important to that person. So just hit them straight on and bust through them so you can continue on your road. So.
It's been a real pleasure to know a gold medal champion.
Thank
Mayor?
you.
Sean, if you just have a second, clearly you're an inspiration to all of us. Maybe we could get a picture of you. And you mentioned we were fortunate to have dinner with Sean and with Colonel Dick today, and she mentioned about moving to new towns and finding new friends, right? And
I did.
so I assure you, you got a lot of friends in this room.
Thank you. As long as they like to have coffee. It's my favorite thing.
Let's just go over there in front. We don't get gold medal.
No, that's for sure.
I was going to give her a mayor's pin, I thought.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's going to be hard to top. But we'll move on to Heidi Troxel and the presentation on the use of the marijuana tax funds in our community. This is great stuff that Heidi's doing. I've had a little bit of an opportunity to spend some time and see some of the things that they're doing. And we got a unique challenge in that we're going to have a lot of money, and we just need to find the best way to spend it. So Heidi, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Tough act to follow, but I do appreciate being here. Just to kind of give you a little background on myself, I do live here in Woodland Park, do work here in Teller County as well as El Paso. This is Tammy Clark. She lives in Green Mountain Falls. But we both, from a professional perspective, manage grants that are funded by the marijuana tax dollars and the licensing fees. And we have a really, as the mayor said, an excellent opportunity to really help our kids in this community. We have a lot of families that are struggling with substance use, and these grants support, the two grants together total about $340,000. My grant does support El Paso County as well, but we've got a lot of money to support our family in our community, our families in our communities. And we have a significant issue in this community that we all need help with. We need to recognize this issue. These grants cover underage, so we're talking 18 years and under, but cover underage substance use, treatment, prevention, education, intervention. So we have an opportunity to educate our families, to support our children in our community. These grants cover mental health services as well for kids that are going through substance use addiction. Addiction is an illness, and there's a stigma attached to that addiction. but we have 23 million Americans going through recovery right now, and we have a lot of money to be able to support our families. So really the reason Tammy and I are here is to, one, let you know that we have an opportunity to provide really wonderful resources. We are limited in our community, but we have a wonderful amount of resources that would love to come from Colorado Springs routinely and already do to support 10 kids who are already in recovery through the marijuana revenue program. And they would love to be a larger part of our community and help our kids and provide more resources. So we really just ask for you to, one, understand what's available, two, support our efforts with working with these families, and then really help try to eliminate some of the stigma that goes along with addiction in our community. It's easy to ignore the problem, but that is the problem, and that's not going to help our kids. And I have a daughter in the school system here, and I want to make sure that if she ever goes down that path, that she has the support from her community, whether it's the police station or the police officers, whether it's the school system, or you all as the leaders of our community. So we did, back in February, start a group. Chief DeYoung, myself, and some other community members started a group called Saturn, and that is to specifically support the youth in our community and help with our kids who are suffering from addiction. And we're not just talking marijuana. This is any addiction at all. And again, there's a lot of mental health illness that goes along with addiction, and we're here to support that too. So we have a meeting twice a month, the first and third Tuesdays of every month at the Woodland Park Police Department from 12 to 2, and I invite anyone here in this room to come to those meetings. We would really appreciate the leadership to support these efforts and to be a part of what we're trying to do to help our families in our community.
Well, thanks, Heidi. Questions, council?
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
You said $340,000 in grant money. Is that to be apportioned between El Paso and Teller counties and other areas?
So my grant is 216 of the 340,000. So the rest is the grant that Tammy works with. My grant is divided between El Paso and Teller, but there is not a specific division of that money. So Teller County wants to use 150,000, then El Paso's got the rest. What's been very, very clear to me, and we all know this, is there's a lot of money coming in from marijuana legalization. And we have been very clearly told by the state that if we use the 216,000, there's a whole lot more to give to us. So the concern of, what does Teller get versus what does El Paso get, that should not be a concern at all. I gave $100,000 back on July 1st that was unused marijuana revenue tax dollars. It's not being used. And so that's what I'm here to explain, is that we have the money, we have a lot of resources, and we need to use this money.
What can it be used for?
So my grant specifically is substance use. So prevention, intervention, education, and treatment. There's a lot of components to that. We can, several things that we've done already is we've sent some teachers from the middle school to restorative justice to come back and teach the other teachers in the middle school restorative justice, so when our kids do get in trouble, they can take that action. We have brought professionals from Denver to come down and talk to different members of our community to provide drug education. So we've also sponsored the 420 event for the Kids and Cops that we had, the dodgeball event. So there are so many things that we can really do in this community. We're also doing we have a certified addiction counselor that comes up every Thursday from Colorado Springs and meets with a group of middle school boys during their roar hour and provides guidance and treatment and life skills to them. So it can really go in so many different ways.
Heidi, how can we help? How can the people here help? We don't want to see that money go to waste. We know there's a need.
Yeah. The first step is acknowledging the problem. That has been a huge obstacle for me in the last 10 months. Once we acknowledge that we have a problem, then we can start working together and truly working together, not just talking the talk, but actually walk the walk and work together to say, where are our gaps? Where is our community shortfalls? Do we need more providers? Do we need more prevention? Where are the kids that are struggling with needing treatment, and what kind of treatment do they need? And so identifying the issue in our community, identifying the gaps that's not already being addressed, supporting the shortfalls, and working together collaboratively, truly hand in hand, walking down the road together, and working collaboratively to support these families.
Heidi, what type of statistics do you have for Teller County in terms of use or abuse for those under 18?
It really depends on what research you look at. If you look at Healthy Kids Colorado, which is a survey that was done by our students in our middle school and high school, we have about 20% of our students acknowledge in a survey that they use regularly. That's what they acknowledge. I want to be real clear on that. So if you talk to, and I do, I talk to the kids every day that are in treatment, and I talk to their families, that problem is much larger than 20%. If you want to talk to the police chief, he can pull statistics from the police department. These, and this goes way beyond just substance use. I mean, we have so many kids that are attempting suicide, that are self-harming. And I only bring that up because a lot of these kids are doing that because of trauma. And that's a large reason why these kids are using substances, is to suppress that trauma. Trauma can be from a divorce. Trauma can be from abuse. I mean, there's so many levels of trauma. But that's why when I work with kids up here in treatment, the very first thing I do is substance use evaluations and mental health evaluations, because there are so many mental health issues up here that we are not addressing also. And we have a really small portion of mental health providers up here. So I have 4 providers coming from Colorado Springs every week, in addition to the resources I'm already using here locally to come up and support these kids. So there's a lot of statistics, and we can go on for a long time and talk more about it, and that's part of what that Saturn those meetings, we discuss in those meetings, is to look at those statistics, find out where we are meeting needs and where we are not, and what we need to do to work together to help meet those shortfalls.
And again, the days that you meet, please.
So the first and third Tuesday of every month. Our next meeting is actually going to be on the 20th, because we've got a strategic planning meeting next Monday, but our next meeting will be the 20th of December, and it's from noon to 2 at the Woodland Park Police Station.
On these evaluations, are they based on interviews, one-on-ones, or surveys, or combination?
Combination. So I actually do a survey I do an evaluation with every youth that has identified with substance use. And I'm actually getting referrals from the middle school and high school counselors to do assessments on kids that are at risk, so we can work harder on that prevention piece. But once the kids have identified with substance use, then we actually bring in a certified addiction counselor, level 3, which is the highest level you can have as an addiction counselor. We have one here in town, and then we have one in the Springs, and they come up and do a 4-hour, broken into 2 different days, but a 4-hour mental health and substance use evaluation. These reports are 5-6 pages long. I mean, these are really detailed reports. They're also interviewing the families to get to family history, to get to the root of these issues with these kids, so we can treat these kids holistically, not just on the surface with their addiction.
Okay, good.
Anybody else? Ken?
Well, I guess the question is, and maybe there's not a good answer for this, but do you think a lot of this addiction you mentioned trauma and so forth, are they getting into that, like you said, to relieve their trauma, or is it the reverse of that? Are they starting the addiction and it's causing the problem? Which comes first, or is it a mix of both?
Well, there's not a recipe, but there's what I am finding when I'm working with the kids from a prevention level or a treatment level, that, and I'll just say that the kids that I'm working with right now, every single one of them have had trauma in their life. And we're not talking what maybe some people would consider minor trauma. I mean, we're talking significant abandonment issues, and a lot of abuse, physical, verbal, and so forth. So generally what I have seen, at least up here so far, is they're dealing with trauma. So they've had trauma growing up. They're dealing with that now that they're older. Oh, by the way, there's a legalization of a drug that's not helping in a lot of ways. These kids are getting what is legal but illegal to them from a lot of the people that they're living with.
I guess what I'm getting at is it sounds like it's sort of, in not all cases, of course, the drug is not the cause of a problem, but for many people they think it's the solution, or at least ease the pain.
Right.
In some cases that may not be true, but it sounds like in many cases, which is disturbing, that there's that much trauma out there.
It is astounding how much these kids that I've engaged with just up here, not to mention the 250 kids we work with down in the Springs, it's shocking. It is so sad, and a lot of these kids do start with cutting and some self-harm acts, and then turn to drugs. And when those drugs stop working, then they turn to harder drugs and run away, live on the streets. They'd rather live on the streets and suppress their feelings and their challenges with their life through the use of drugs.
Is a lot of the trauma, do you think, coming from family issues? I mean, should there be counseling for parents?
Yes.
I guess is what I'm getting at.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Heidi, what is the amount that you receive in grant money? What is that based on? Is that a per capita formulation or something else? Yeah,
it's my grant is through Division of Youth Corrections. Tammy's is through CDPHE, and my grant is $216,000 a year for every year for 5 years. So, but again, the state's been very, very clear. You use this, we've got a whole lot more to give you. So,
and where does the money come from?
So, well, it's marijuana tax dollars and the licensing fees, and it comes through the Division of Youth Corrections.
Where are the kids indicating that? How do they access, whether it's marijuana or something else? How are they accessing it?
Multiple resources. I would be honest in saying marijuana and opioids tend to come from their families, so the guardians in their homes is the majority of it. So not all of it. There's a lot of stuff happening on the streets, and increasing the taxes to get more money is just making it more appealing to get it on the black market because it's a lot cheaper.
Drugs have been around a long time, even going back into my childhood. Many problems came out, so it's not a new thing.
No, but access is much easier
They
now.
have access via to family members and family members who also have problems. It's just a vicious cycle.
Yeah. And the potency is a huge issue.
Yeah.
Huge issue.
Very.
So, yeah.
Heidi, thanks for your time. Tammy, thanks for being here. And surely you see lots of interest. So the point is, if you need any support from us, let us know.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're on a roll tonight. Okay, another great one. We'll follow that. Vera, is Vera here? There she is. Vera's going to make a presentation of the Main Street Walkability Plan. Welcome, Vera.
Thank you. Actually, I'm not going to do the presentation. I'm just going to introduce someone to do the presentation. Main Street's been doing some pretty amazing things.
Excuse me, just give us your name and address to start. I'm sorry.
No worries. Vera Egbert, 250 Laura Lane, Woodland Park. Okay, so let's go back to Main Street. Main Street's doing some pretty amazing things this year. Had some great things on our work plan, one of which is the walkability plan that Laurie Glauth is going to present to you tonight. She and Lee were going to tag team that tonight, so unfortunately, as you have mentioned, we have lost Lee. He was an amazing, amazing part of our effort for Main Street, and it's going to be really hard to go forward and do some of the great things that we need to do without him, but we'll continue on in his memory. So this walkability plan came from a grant that DOLA gave to Main Street, and Mike Tupa, who was with the University Tech Assistants from CU in Denver, he and his interns came down and worked with our group and came up with this plan. So I'm going to turn it over to Laurie.
My name's Laurie Glauth, 472 Lucky Lady Drive, and I know many of you, and I'm glad to be here tonight, and we're going to pretend Lee's right here with us in a tag team. Some of you have seen this presentation before, and it was a quick overview, and I'm going to stress that this is a concept that these students came into our community with fresh eyes, fresh ideas, and they were in a graduate program. And they represent the embodiment of the latest creative things going on across the United States and small communities, and ways to look at specifically walkability. So I am making the assumption, I understand you guys all got this in your council packets, and I hope you took some time to look at it. I was asked to do this in about 10 minutes. I'll do my best to make it 10 minutes. Now, Sally. Spacebar. I can handle that. Okay. Do you guys recognize this front copy right here? This picture. That's looking south. The cowhand would be on your right, and on your left-hand side there would be Ralph Holloway's building. What's really cool is the students, you see there are about 7 displays around the room. They're kind of on the floor, they're on easels, and there's some blown up versions there, and I know you guys have it in your packet, but you're welcome. Please take a look at those. Darlene will be the keeper of those. And it really does give some cool ideas and some thoughts to how we can do this. Now, to share with you guys, the 2010 comprehensive plan, if you studied this sheet, if you look at those bullet points, it talks about page 5, page 29, 76, and 89, and page 99. Those are all direct goals that came out of the 2010 comp plan, of which many here in this room did participate in. And as I look around the room, and the Main Street group, one of the subcommittees is the design group, and that design group, of which I am the chair of that group, of which Lee was a member of that group. I look around tonight, and there are several people from the design group here tonight. We have Pat Hislop, we have Jill White, and we have Jan Wilson, and if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. And then there are several people from the Main Street Board that are here. So there's a lot of people that are very passionate about these goals, and I'll tell you that they came from basically the comp plan and the concept of walkability. So the whole idea of the comp plan and those goals was to improve safety, connectivity, particularly pedestrian as well as bicycle, and making it more visually appealing. As you all know, Highway 24 is a little bit of a challenge for this entire community and has been for years. So, you know, winter's coming. We're going to have our issues with splashing, dirt, mud, and all those issues as well. So the issues just go on, and we've all been living with this for a good number of years. In general, this slide represents the idea of making downtown the core area of Woodland Park and having accessibility north, east, west, and south. So as you can see, if you come south, you have that corridor. That first slide on the very first page kind of showed walkability where the Hawk Light's going to go. It goes to the south, and you have that corridor to go south, to go to the south part there. Soon to be developed, Lord only knows what's in store there, but the idea is there's you guys' copy's better than that, but it shows a trail that goes down further south to the new development. The whole idea is to tie the community together and make it easy to walk into the downtown area, okay? Now, the kids, you guys in your packet have these 19 different drawings, and I will tell you that the students came down here in the May time frame, and we sat down with them, and the steering committee was made up of myself, Darlene Jensen, Sally Riley, and Lee. And Sally took it and took a lot of these concepts and ideas hand in hand with city staff. So we really tried to be in concert with each other as we move through this to try to bring the kids up to speed on what documents we already had in this community and what our goals and values were. And so they reviewed those things. Now, as an overview, the 4 new ideas that kind of came out that the kids, after they took all this plans about our trails from the Parks and Recs Department, from the comp plan, from a couple other documents, these were the 4 main things that popped out at them. Quinn Alley makeover, the Center Street Plaza, making Pine and Park Street possibly one-way streets going to the north, and then some type of protective barriers along Highway 24. Again, for the safety potential. The Quinn Alley idea. It's kind of tough to see, but basically what they were trying to do in the concept there, and Sally, correct me if I'm wrong, but you know how Quinn Alley, it goes through, but they were looking at actually, Quinn Alley currently goes back here. They were actually looking at moving the parking north, extending the walking area behind the building so it was a wider plaza, was more accessible, more people-friendly up out of the street, and then taking Quinn Alley and just making it kind of curve around. If you go to the next, this is here to the east of where we were, and then they brought it back this direction. They got real creative with that. Yeah, you know, again, concept. So I'm just going to move on with that one simply because it's complex. There's some elevation issues. There's a whole lot of things that would have to be considered, and right out of the box, great concept, guys. But as you move forward and we begin to look at the Center Street Plaza, that concept would be closing Center Street. That concept would be the main pedestrian walkway to cross across Highway 24 onto the south side of the street. And with the Hawk Light going in there, maybe there's some ideas around that maybe the community might want to consider looking at. But again, it's just an idea and a concept that they had. This talks about, and you guys can see it better than in here, but going north on both Pine, we got Pine Street. Yeah, here are the 2 streets that they're proposing. This represents the traffic light. This is a bad copy here. Traffic signal, traffic signal. Traffic goes north, we come back around this way. That way we have nobody coming this direction trying to make left-hand turns, even or blind right-hand turns. So as you maybe peruse around town and you're driving, take a look and see yourself how maybe that might work, you know? I don't know. Again, it's going to be food for thought. I will be giving the same presentation at the DDA meeting next week, at their meeting. Right, Mary Jo? Yeah. Thank you. Okay, just wanted to make sure I was on the agenda. Okay. So that we can begin some dialogue with the business owners and just get the creative juices flowing, okay? This one's too hard to see. Let's skip that. Let's go to the barriers. Let's go to protection. The whole idea here is, you know, we've all had some accidents in town. We've had some incidences where vehicles have jumped curbs, hit things. We've had an accident down just this last year in front of Tanner's building. Those type of things are scary. You all know, and we all experience it all the time. Carol. Okay. This is a street, just a streetscape picture, standing on the south side, looking to the north, where there are concrete barriers, and it's kind of a combination of some concrete, possibly some planters, and again, it is simply a concept design that the kids put together, making it a combination of planter as well as a barrier. Now, Vera mentioned Mike Tupa. Mike Tupa, he actually retired this summer, at the end of this summer, so he's no longer up there. But Mike was actually worked for CDOT for quite a few years. So Mike brought a lot of interesting perspectives, if you will, to his students and his interns, because he could really tell them some practical types of things. So when you look at barriers, for example, I understand that if you have a gap in your barriers, you potentially could be introducing liability. You have to be very careful when you do that, and you really do have to work hand in hand with CDOT. So it's not something to be taken lightly, and there are some communities in Colorado, and one of them that was brought to our attention, I believe, was Durango. Durango has recently done some things with barriers in a highway situation going through their town as well. Here are a side view as well as a front-on view of just some examples of what they could look like, and it's simply just for the creative juices to get flowing, but I think they represent, actually in your packets they talk about the height of some of those things as well. On this slide you can see where the red is. That was some of their proposal about where some of those barriers could be put or not, but that was, as they looked at it, what they were seeing. So basically what we want to do is look for reactions to those 4 main areas, get input, have dialogue, see how we can partner with CDOT. And I can tell you that the city, both Jane and Sally, have been involved in meetings along with Darlene. CDOT has met with city staff. There's been dialogue. They've been very receptive to just having conversations and beginning the process the way I understand it, to see what would be behind maybe going forward, because it's going to be a partnership, obviously, as you guys all know. One of the things that's low-hanging fruit in the community really is, and as you guys all know, Antler Alley has come to a lot of completion and a lot of projects that have been on the table for a long time. They've been on the several people's drawing boards, Ralph Holloway's for one, the city's for another. And there's been a lot of groups, Keep Woodland Park Beautiful, that have made a lot of things happen, as you're well aware of the grant. So as you look at the sketch that the students put together and some of the ideas, that's one that is almost at completion at this point in time. This was the kids' rendition of it, again looking south down Antler Alley with some ideas of what could be done, just to try to spruce it up, make it more visually pleasing, and pull people down there to walk. So there's an ongoing relationship with CDOT. We've got some new people in CDOT, I believe, that have even reached out and said that they're willing to work with us. One of the things I understand that has to be done is amending the PPACG's long-range plan priorities for Woodland Park, and that request would come out of this body the way I understand it. So just to get our long-range master plan, to get it changed to say, for example, we want to consider protective barriers in Main Street, then will make us eligible for a variety of monies from some other places just by changing that. We don't have to define what they'd look like. Specifically, it was just being proactive and working with PPACG the way I understand it. So as you can, the other thing, formalized names for Quinn Alley, Antler Alley, and Pedestrian Plaza. We've had things have been updated. Tonight you are actually going to look at the Quinn Alley resolution. We learned that Antler Alley, we can't do that for a variety of reasons, so we are only doing Quinn Alley. But that will also complete a work plan item, for example, for Main Street for this year. And we're continuing into next year to look at a variety of streetscape options. And that is the presentation, and I don't know if I did 10 minutes or not. Right. Any questions?
What was DOT's response to the barriers, and how would that work?
Yeah, I attended that meeting as well. They were actually quite supportive of it. They had some things that they wanted us to make sure that we did. Height, as was mentioned, continuity, so that you don't have an abrupt object for vehicles to run into. So they wanted some continuity associated with it. They were very receptive to some of those concepts. I don't remember too many more details than that. Sally, do you? It was generally very positive, which was quite surprising. So we were very pleased with that, and many of these ideas we're very excited about.
What would be the next step then with CDOT?
Well, I would need to study that, because we do need to get Dan involved with this to alter the TIP, which is a Transportation Improvement Program, that alters the STIP, which is the State Transportation Improvement Program, to put us on a list. If we want to take advantage of other people's money, we would have some matching funds, and of course, if we want to rely on other people's money, then it prolongs the process. So it's when this next cycle comes up, submitting that as a conceptual project to get on the list, so that the Transportation Advisory Committee can make a recommendation to the Board of Directors to include that on the long-term project list.
The next question I would have then is the option of making two northbound one-way streets. Is that something that we do in our jurisdiction? That doesn't have anything to do with CDOT, does it?
I do not think it would, except for because it's turning off of the highway. Sally's shaking her head like we would need to include them, so why don't you jump in, Sally? But we would need to take the first step to say, we think this makes sense, and then we would take it to them.
And what they would want to see, CDOT would want to see, is a full traffic study.
Sure.
So to be able to evaluate the impacts or the benefits of one-way streets.
Because it would force traffic to the two signal lights,
right,
which is what I tell people to do anyway. If you're going on to 24 and you're going to turn eastbound, go to a signal light.
Was that one of the recommendations of the transportation feasibility study that we conducted last year?
No, this was completely new idea, fresh idea out of the students. So it was not something we were looking at specifically. But we tend to like the idea. It also helps an opportunity to increase parking on those streets, because if they become a one-way, then we have a lot more shoulder to work with to add parking.
So what do we need to do as a council?
We'll take the next steps. Right now, you don't need to do anything.
I attended a PP ACG meeting last time, and I would like to be considered as your partner at these meetings and start to work in working with you, city planning, CDOT, Normstein, and seeing this project developed and go through, if you so desire.
Well, it's not up to me. I'd love to love to work with you. That's not the point. Just in further direction, I think we have a better idea where to go. The good news, to which you kind of alluded to, is Norm's he's on the stack and he's on the TAC, and so we've got great representation there, at least right now, and that'll be a big asset. Things can change fast. I've only been going on that group for about 3 years now, but they find money like you wouldn't believe. And so, to which you said, yeah, it's nice to be on that long-term planning for 2040 and the like, but if you come up with something solid, trust me, there's money. And we got the right people in place right now to get it, so that's a great idea, Paul.
We will ask Dan to work through the TAC process to come back, perhaps not at the next
This Dan, you mean?
I do.
Our Dan.
Okay. All right.
Dan, what's your experience? Construction, CDOT, highway.
I've had minimal experience with CDOT over the years. I've been in construction for 26 years. So building parking lots all the way to finished product of the building, I've been involved in every aspect of that, process.
The good news is with the CDOT process, I've got quite a bit of experience. I was on the TAC for 10 years. Sally was on some enhancement committees associated with the TAC. So as a team, we have the right people in place to find out what the next steps are.
Okay.
Well, you mentioned the cycle, David. When do we have a next opportunity to take the next couple of steps and maybe even get some funding?
That's what I need to find out. I don't know what the next cycle is. That's what I'll ask Dan to pursue, and we'll then bring some thoughts back to council at perhaps not the next meeting, but the one after that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We need to get it kicked up on the priority list.
Anybody else? Laurie, thank you very much. Appreciate it, Sally. Thank you. A lot of hard work. Vera, thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on to Arbor Day, and the City of Woodland Park has a proclamation that I will read. Whereas the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed in 1872 with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is celebrated nationwide and around the world, and whereas trees can help reduce the erosion of precious topsoil by wind and water, lower heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees symbolize enduring strength and are a renewable resource that provide paper and wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless beneficial products. And whereas trees in the City of Woodland Park increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business and public areas, and beautify the community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now therefore I, Neil Levy, Mayor of the City of Woodland Park, do hereby proclaim Saturday, December 3rd, 2016 as Arbor Day in the City of Woodland Park, and encourage all citizens and businesses to join in the celebration thereof, and to support efforts to protect trees and woodlands by preserving the natural and urban forest and planting trees to promote the well-being of this and all future generations, dated this first day of December. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
I thought Arbor Day was in April. I didn't know it was in December as well.
Well, it's just an interesting turn of events this year, and it usually is in April at the national level, but most Aprils around here you still can't plant trees, so we've always done it a little bit later.
Okay. Late bloomers, got it. All right.
Cindy can actually explain why we're doing it now. It has something to do with the designation, and I'll let her say it.
I knew this would stir up some interesting conversation or question. So the City of Woodland Park is a Tree City USA city, and we have been that designation for 24 years. And part of that criteria is to have an Arbor Day celebration or education portion regarding tree care. And part of that criteria for the designation is also to have a proclamation. And so we needed to have the proclamation read. And so what we're doing this year to celebrate Arbor Day is tree care in the winter months. And so we have that information out on the website, Facebook, the new Park and Rec newsletter, and flyers available in the Park and Rec office.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Thanks for the questions.
Okay, sounds good. If there are no additions, deletions, or corrections tonight, move on to the consent calendar, and Suzanne.
Thank you, Mayor Levy. This evening on tonight's consent calendar, we have one item, and it's the minutes from the November 17th, 2016 Schaefer.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, Suzanne. We'll move on to unfinished business, which we have none. Ordinances on initial posting, and Kip Wiley to consider ordinance number 1295.
Thank you. Good evening. Habitat for Humanity came to us asking for an exception to the municipal code as it relates to water and sewer service lines for the clock tower condominiums. Ordinance 1295 is a description of allowing limited exception to the municipal code. Recommend approval on initial posting and set the public hearing for December 15th.
Questions?
And this is for the sewer and water tap.
This isn't the sale of the taps, this is the service lines. The municipal code requires condominiums to have each condominium to have their own individual water and sewer service line. They're asking for an exception to that to just utilize the existing plumbing within the building and not install individual lines to each unit.
And so, obvious question. Any safety hazard? We have an ordinance in place that we're setting aside. Do you see any issues?
There's pros and cons to both.
And that is the substance, really, of the ordinance, which council could certainly get into
Great.
at the public hearing.
Sounds good. That's the case. John, you have a question?
I want to correct the spelling error in the first statement of the ordinance.
Okay.
The spelling of woodland.
Wooldan.
Good catch.
Very picky.
Yes.
Okay, I just need a motion to consider ordinance 1295 on initial posting. Set the public hearing for 2 weeks from today.
I move we consider.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Murphy.
Yes.
Levy.
Yes.
Matthews.
Yes.
Soinier.
Yes.
Schaefer.
Yes.
Carr.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, Suzanne. Okay, we're going to move to public hearings, and got a couple of things going on. We're missing Noel Sawyer tonight, and we have an important budget issue. A couple of council folks have asked for a work session on December 8th because we wanted to make sure everybody could be there. And so we will do that, and I'm going to get a motion for number A and number B to be tabled until December 15th, if that's the right process.
And it is, I think the record would reflect that there is no one signed up for public comment. So it's advertised for public comment tonight. And so the motion would be to open the public hearing, and since no one has signed up, to then continue the public hearing to a date and time certain, which would be your December 15th meeting at the meeting time of 7 o'clock.
Another question for point of information. We had scheduled a work session to discuss the budget next week. Could that be considered a continuation of the public hearing, and could a vote be taken at the work session to adopt the budget?
It could, because what you would just notice that as a special meeting, and you tonight would continue the public hearing to a date and time certain, which would be then December 8th at whatever time. But that would be the way to hold your public comment on December 8th if that's what council desired to do.
But would not that prevent any public statements at the council meeting on the 15th?
Not if we voted on the 8th. If we continue to a date certain on the 8th at the special meeting, we could in fact adopt the budget on the 8th.
You could post the meeting in that way, just as we're now, you continue it to a date certain to the 15th, you could do the same thing for the 8th. If on the 8th you choose to not make that decision that night,
preference would be to just stick to the 15th. I think we got enough going on the 8th, and then we'll have some time to consider whatever we talk about on the 8th.
And either
have
way,
a
we
date
don't.
certain on the 15th, and the whole public will know at that point.
Well, and the whole public will know if we set it to the 8th right now, and we still have that same option. Just gives a little more flexibility. Doesn't mean we have to make any decision on the 8th. But it's up to you. We need a motion, and we'll go from there. But clearly, if we decide December 8th, there's no reason that we have to make a decision that day.
Is the reason we're doing this is because Will's not here?
Partly because there's still some more work that needs to be done on the budget. Some council members, Val and Paul and Noah, would like to have another work session.
Yeah, there was a request for a special meeting by a work session. I'm sorry, and so that's what we're scheduling.
I'm optimistic that we have an entire evening beginning at
5:30.
Yeah, sorry to say 17:30, 5:30 next Thursday on the 8th. That we could reach resolution on the 8th, and I'd like to have that option available. That's why I would like to make a motion to continue this for a special meeting on the 8th, in which we would continue the public hearing. If we are not able to reach resolution on the 8th, and at that point we would continue until the 15th. And what is the date that we are required by the charter to approve or to adopt the budget?
15th.
15 days before the end of the fiscal year. So my motion then is to call for a special meeting on the 8th at 5:30 to continue the public hearing. That's it. On ordinance 1291 and 1292.
We'll take them separately. We got a second for Carol's motion to start with.
I'll give it a second.
Okay. Discussion, it sounds like maybe three of you aren't thrilled with that.
I'm going to vote no on it.
Well, my hope is that we come to a resolution on the 8th and that we vote on the 8th.
I understand that.
And if we don't, we still
This
move it
gives
to
us the
next.
option to do that. If we do not come to resolution on the 8th, then we continue it until the 15th. All right, there's a motion and a second.
There is a motion and a second. Suzanne?
Levy,
Yes.
Matthews,
Yes.
Sonier,
No.
Schaefer,
No.
Carr,
No.
Harvey.
Yes.
Motion is tied at 3-3. Motion fails.
Thank you.
I make a motion to delay we're just doing 1291 separately.
Correct.
To delay 1291 to final consideration on December 15th, I believe. It's the next council meeting.
And continue the public hearing to December 15th at 7.
Correct, yes, thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Suzanne?
Matthews,
Kim,
I
was thinking.
sorry.
No.
Sonier,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Carr,
Yes.
Harvey,
No.
Levy.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-2.
We're gonna get this done in the right timeline, and, we're gonna work as hard as we can, and if we gotta go to the 15th, I'm not opposed. I like the flexibility of having it at the 8th if we needed it, but
So we're not having the 8th meeting?
we'll have the 8th work session, but it won't be a special meeting to extend the public hearing. So the public hearing has been extended to the 15th, and we will still have our work session at 5:30 on the 8th. Okay? Now we basically need to go through the same process for approving ordinance number 1292. Let's make it easy. Somebody would like to make a motion that mirrors the
1292. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Great, Suzanne?
Sonier,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Carr,
Yes.
Harvey,
No.
Levy,
Yes.
Matthews.
No.
Motion carries 4-2.
Thank you.
Just for clarification, would you mind reading the motion we just agreed to?
So the motion that you just agreed to was for ordinance number 1292 to carry it on to December 15th and carry the public hearing to then. Thank you.
So the public hearing is still open. It's just been continued to a date certain, which is December 15th. And that's the same for 1291 as well.
Thank you. I've got a question. If that second vote would have been tied also, where would we have been?
It moves on to the next meeting.
Right.
It essentially would be a
Default?
de facto continuance.
Good. Now I feel better. Okay, still in public comment and public hearings, and number 9C to approve ordinance number 1293, and Sally Riley.
Thank you, Mayor Levy, council members. This is to consider ordinance 1293, which is for a small utility easement to quitclaim to IREA for electric transmission lines, poles, anchors, and appurtenances on lots 7 and 8, Woodland Plaza subdivision located near the northeast corner of Aspen Garden Way and Woodland Avenue. And this evening, here representing IREA is Brooks Kaufman. If you'll acknowledge. And Brooks is the Lands and Right-of-Way Director. So he is very familiar with this project that is a new 3-phase power line, and the aerial shows you Aspen Garden Way, the Safeway Center, and the red star is the approximate location of the 1,170 square foot easement that is needed in order to establish a new pole and then have the anchor guy lines into the open space area that is next to Fountain Creek and the Fountain Creek open space. And in your packet is the exhibit that shows this specific location, as well as the legal description and the grant of easement and the ordinance itself. It has been reviewed by staff, and staff has no concerns with granting this small easement on the corner of Aspen Garden Way and Woodland Avenue, and we would recommend approval of ordinance 1293 this evening. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Sally. Any questions from anybody?
I beg your pardon, I'm really sorry. Where generally is this located? I know you stated this already, but I spaced it out.
Okay. Safeway Shopping Center, and just to the west of that is Fountain Creek, and then so where it goes under the bridge, there's going to be a new pole set with anchors, so it's right on that corner.
Thank you. I was looking at it because it was the east, and I was going to ask questions about the highway and all that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions?
The only question I had is that will continue to be an above-ground power line?
I'll let Brooks talk since he made the trip from.
Thanks, Brooks.
No, not a problem. Brooks Kaufman, Intermountain Rural Electric Association out of Sedalia, Colorado. Basically, this is a big overall project that we're going to tie into the Walmart down south. So there is some underground and overhead on this project, but due to the terrain and some of the road connections here, that we had to go with an overhead connection here because of that creek and where it will possibly, if it doesn't get correct, it could blow out a little bit farther. So putting a pole there is a little more convenient and actually more stable than trying to get an underground line in there because there's not enough room to get around that bridge. So that's the purpose of this pole. In the future, that could probably go away once the Fountain Creek gets, improved, that we could work with you on that. But for the time being, we're trying to get another source down to the Walmart area there for redundancy. That's kind of the overall what this is all about.
Great, thank you very much.
But that is the objective, is a redundant
Yes.
source of
Yeah.
power. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Suzanne?
Schaefer,
Yes.
Carr,
Yes.
Harvey,
Yes.
Levy,
Yes.
Matthews,
Yes.
Sonier.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 6-0.
Thanks, Suzanne. Okay, last one, approve ordinance number 1294. And Kip's gonna do this one.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Everybody awake? Okay, ordinance 1294 is a relocation of a drainage easement at the Goodwill project site located at Paradise Circle and Paradise Lodge. Ordinance 1294 relocated drainage utility easement on Lot 6, Paradise Lodge, Marketplace subdivision owned by Discovery Goodwill. So as part of that project, there was a drainage line on this photo here. You see the relocated pipe, which is this dotted line where my cursor is. The existing line that was in there is this shaded area right here. They relocated that line, and as part of that, we had to reestablish a new easement for that. So this is just vacating the old easement and applying the new easement. Representative for Goodwill is here tonight if you guys have any questions.
This looks easy to me. Questions? Call for motion. Oh, I'm sorry, we are in public comment. And I missed it twice, so if you have public comment for number 9D, this will be the time. If not, we'll call for a motion.
Move to approve ordinance 1294 for Goodwill drainage and utility easement.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Suzanne?
Carr,
Yes.
Harvey,
Yes.
Levy,
Yes?
Matthews,
Yes.
Sonier,
Yes.
Schaefer.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 6-0.
Thanks, Suzanne. Suzanne, we'll move on to new business. And item number 10A, approving resolution number 811. Sally Riley?
Thank you very much, Mayor Levy, council members. This evening, I would like to introduce to you Lannon Abbott. Lannon has been working with the planning department during this semester. She is a junior at Colorado Springs Christian School and has been volunteering as part of a leadership class that she is taking, and one of her projects has been helping us with the naming of Quinn Alley. So she will do the presentation this evening.
Good evening, council members and Mayor Levy. As Mrs. Riley just stated, my name is Landon Abbott, and I will be presenting Resolution 811, Series 2016, which is the naming of Quinn Alley and the correcting of Quinn's Alley to simply Quinn Alley. All right, so our request tonight is that the City of Woodland Park proposes that the existing alley running from Chestnut Street to Park Street be named Quinn Alley, and that the area in Block 30, Stepha's Edition number 4, be corrected from Quinn's Alley to simply Quinn Alley. So just a visual to go along with that. This is Quinn, the red line symbolizes Quinn Alley. Right here is obviously Highway 24, and this is the front of downtown. So it goes from Park Street to Chestnut Street. And actually many entrances to businesses are already kind of in that area. So as before stated, just some background as to why Quinn. Jack Quinn was an important part of Woodland Park's history and identity. He was a rock hauler and quarry owner. Actually, much of the limestone you see in downtown on chimneys, stone walls, it's actually a specific type called Manitou Pink, and he was kind of directly associated with that type. So he's definitely an important part of Woodland Park's history, and it's a unique characteristic. Also, he actually owned property on what would be Quinn's Alley. All right, so our recitals tonight, we have three. That the Woodland Park City Council finds that naming Quinn Alley will assist emergency services to respond to specific buildings and foster community identity. Also, a replat with lots 1R and 2R, Block 30 and Steffes Edition number 4, recorded on August 24th, 2007, named the alley as Quinn's Alley. So the City Council determined that it is in the best interest to amend the name to Quinn Alley within Block 30, Steffes Edition, and establish an alley name from Chestnut Street to Park Street as Quinn Alley. All right. So, council members and Mayor Levy, staff recommends a move to approve resolution number 811, series 2016, which is the naming of Quinn Alley and the correction of Quinn's Alley. And if you have any questions, myself or Mrs. Riley would be happy to answer.
We want you to answer. That's a great presentation. Thank you very much. How did you enjoy working with Mrs. Riley?
I enjoyed it so much, and I learned more in just this short time than I ever would have imagined. So
You couldn't have learned any more than I have, trust me. Council?
How long will you continue to be working with Ms. Riley?
Unfortunately, just till the end of the semester, so it's like in 2 weeks or so, kind of like mid-December. So, but I will definitely, if she needs any help, I will be available.
It's now become a family tradition with the Abbotts. You'll recall Cy was here some time ago, and I think you have a younger...
Yes, I don't know if he's coming up, but you might see him in a couple of years too. So.
Okay.
Just one question. Where did the S come from?
Well, there was a plat, a part of kind of the alley. I think it was the actual part where Mr. Quinn had his property, and that was already named Quinn's Alley because, you know, his property was on there. So it would just simplify everything to have one Quinn Alley.
Possessive. Quinn apostrophe S.
Yes.
Great. Well, thanks very much for your presentation. Great job. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Council, any other questions? If not, call for a motion to approve Resolution 811.
I move
So
approval. I'll second.
Okay. Kenny got the
Resolution
second.
811 as presented.
Oh, okay.
Harvey?
Second? Do we get a second? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
We had two first, I think.
Two first.
Harvey, yes. Harvey, okay. Levy?
Yes.
Matthews?
Yes.
Soinier?
Yes.
Schaefer?
Yes.
Carr?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Okay. Number 10B, approve Resolution 812, and Kip.
Thank you. I'll try not to drop the microphone this time.
Okay.
Resolution 812 is the allocation of 9 multifamily water taps. First, I'll just do a quick, the requester, some background information, conditions of approval, and staff recommendations and any comments from the requestee. So first, the request came from Habitat for Humanity to reserve 9, or to allocate 9 water taps or multifamily taps to the Clock Tower condominiums. The location is 222 East Henrietta Avenue. A little bit of background. This site was formerly known as the Loft House Motel. So it was a motel. They want to convert that into 9 condominiums. These are 9 affordable units to include 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 4 2-bedroom, 1 baths, and 4 3-bedroom, 2 baths, and a 2-story building. The design includes a playground, some common space, and direct access to the library. Conditions of approval, multifamily projects are required to go to City Council per Section 13.27.050D, and there's a $200 per tap fee, or per dwelling unit fee. Resolution 380 was adopted in 1997 that established 11 criteria for a multifamily water tap allocation. And of those 11 criteria, this project meets all of those. And also, as you know, we have the multifamily water tap bank. Currently, there are 52 taps in that bank. This would reduce that number to 43. Staff recommends approval of this, of Resolution 812, allocating 9 multifamily water taps. And if you have any questions, I can answer those, and the applicant is also here.
That 52 is the annual number?
No, that's just what's established. We can add more if we need to. Those taps that we add to it come from the single-family bank.
Okay.
The single-family bank every year is 80, and we allocate that at the first of the year.
The 52 taps that are available in the bank now, did that exclude those that were used for the affordable housing project on Highway 67? Have those already been?
Those have been taken out of the multifamily bank.
Thank you.
So, this is potable water, drinking water that we're tapping into and bringing into the units.
It better be.
Yes. I'm just asking. I want to make sure
Yes.
I'm not crossing in my thoughts here.
Yeah, as council knows, we track all residential taps. So residential, even multifamily residential.
Yes.
So this is a multifamily project, but they're condominiums. So each unit has to purchase a tap.
And it will be metered.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Well, we'll decide that at the next meeting, if each one will be metered individually.
Okay.
Any other questions? Kip, thank you. Call for motion to approve resolution number 812.
Public comment?
Can. Nobody signed up, but if you'd like. Not? Okay.
I move approval of Resolution 812 as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Suzanne?
Levy,
Yes.
Matthews,
Yes.
Sonier,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Carr,
Yes.
Harvey.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, thank you very much. Landon, before you leave, I'd like you to come up and I'll meet you because special people get special pins.
No gold medal, sorry.
It's not a gold medal. This is the best I can
Knows
do.
exactly where to go, too.
But it looks to me, I'm sure you will all agree that Landon's not only had a great time, she's done a great job, and she appears to be a great leader. So we appreciate all those things, and for your help, we give you the mayor's pin. Okay, public comment on items not on the agenda, and I have one person signed up, Darlene Jensen, who's been very busy this week.
Thank you, Mayor. Darlene Jensen, 9005 Mountain Road, Topeka Park, Colorado. I'm also proud to serve as the Main Street Program Coordinator for Woodland Park. I'm here just to give you just a brief update on the Deluxe Corporation visit to our community this week. It was fantastic. First, I need to thank the 21 people that submitted their nominations for the City of Woodland Park to the Deluxe Corporation. One of those people, I have to say, is Lee Willoughby. And it's with heartfelt joy, really, that he has been part of our community and part of the Main Street program, and he will be very dearly missed. That being said, we went through our community starting at 7 a.m. at Tweeds, and have to thank Tanner Coy for representing our town and our small businesses. And starting at 7, the Deluxe Corporation and the filming crew went hard at it. Tanner, you did a great job. Thank you. After visiting with Tanner, we went over to the mural. Lois Sprague and Larry Black gave a beautiful overview of the mural to the Deluxe folks. They also saw the Habitat for Humanity project. We're truly impressed. At that time, They were interviewed by Trevor Phipps and our local Charlie Chambers and the KRDO television station, KOAA. So we had channel ABC and NBC representing us up here and did TV interviews with the Deluxe Corporation, Amanda Brinkman. They were truly impressed how our community was able to rally in such a short time to bring forth all of these interviews and this press coverage. We were the first community out of the 8 that was visited. So we really had to hit it hard, fast, and the 15 businesses that participated, both in the interviews and the filming of their businesses, stepped up. And I really was impressed. They were ready to answer the historic questions about their businesses and why they do business here. So thank you to all the business owners. Also, Mayor, thank you. You did your homework. You came and you reviewed the videos. You participated in the dinner and the luncheon, along with other members of our city staff and Main Street representatives, chamber representatives. I want to specifically thank Steve Jaroslaw for coming to lunch, as well as Jane. It was a joy to sit with the Deluxe folks, just take a moment to get to know them, us, and why we are so proud of our community. So with that, they are now taking this footage back, starting to create video footage for their jury, so they can then review after 8 weeks the 8 communities. They will select 5 for the finals. They're saying 3, 4, 5, 6, but they're giving us a round 5. After that, what they will do come February 9th is put this out for a national vote. And that's where our real homework starts, that we will go to every social media outreach. We've already had folks from around the state call us to see how they can help us in the voting process. So Woodland Park is truly on the map, locally, regionally, statewide, and nationally. And thank you to all who participated. Thank you.
You know, I'll just say this to add on, Darlene, certainly thanks. And you'll be the first to agree that there's so many people involved with this, and it's great to see everybody working together the way we like it. And I would just keep this in mind. We may not win this award, but, you know, there's no reason that we can't keep working together in that regard, and we can get stuff done on our own. So great job to everybody. Tell Jeff Cahill, the signs that he donated, amazing. I'm sure everybody's seen them in town. There's one right when you come into town and one right at the Paradise property. And Jeff did that out of the kindness of his heart, and beautiful signs. I know that made a big impression on those folks. So thanks to everybody. Okay, move on to Mayor's report. And I'm going to bug out early right after this so I can go watch a kid play hockey. Saturday, December 3rd from 8 to 11, Kiwanis Breakfast with Santa at the UPass Cultural Center. These 3 or 4 things that we have this Saturday are kind of the highlight of the holiday season, and I know we're going to see everybody around town. Saturday night, 6 o'clock, lighter side of Christmas parade, followed by the Crazy Hat Contest and Christmas tree lighting at the UPass Cultural Center. There'll be a big crowd for that. Certainly holiday home tour, Saturday and Sunday. Tweeds is kind of the focal point, but there's 6 or 7 or 8, I'm not sure how many properties. Weather's supposed to be great, and it is really an exciting time of year, so look forward to seeing everybody. Saturday, December 10th from 9 to 1, the Winners Farmers Market at the UPass Cultural Center, and Tuesday, December 13th from 5:30 to 7, Chamber Business After Hours at Tweeds. That's always very, very well attended. Get there early. We may run out of food. All right. Thanks. Council reports. And I'm going to turn the gavel over to Carol. Thank you very much.
Good luck in hockey.
Thanks.
Yeah, and just to add on to the holiday home tour, part of the tour will include History Village behind the library. We'll have period-dressed hosts and hostesses. I will be at the Steffa Cabin in Western gear, so I think I need to come down and see you this week before I get dressed. I have the boots, but I need a holiday Western shirt. I have no other reports. Val?
No, thank you.
Ken?
I don't really have a report. I would just say how much we, like everyone, will miss Lee. He was on our Keep Woodland Park Beautiful committee also, as he has been on many, many committees in this community. And everything the mayor said about him before, just I can't say it enough, and he's really going to be missed. Beyond that, unless, Jan, if you have, I see you in the audience, if you have anything to say about the Lowe's grant, I missed the meeting Wednesday. Anything that we need to say publicly that I'm not aware of?
Spent all the money.
Okay, that's good. It was good money. What, 5,000 I think total?
No, 20.
Oh, that's right, 20. The 5 was the amount to the store itself. Yeah, that was a good event, and hopefully this other one is even bigger. What, 500,000 I think, right? So let's work hard for that. Thanks to everybody who worked on that. That's all.
Paul?
Big thank you for all the participation. A lot of good information tonight. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
I also want to echo the comments about Lee. He was chairman of the Utilities Advisory Committee, so that's a whole that Kip will be working on shortly, I'm sure. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank Mary Jo and Tanner for not making a presentation to the council this evening.
They're on there.
They're still on the schedule, John.
I think that was a hint.
City attorney? Nothing from the city attorney, city manager?
3 quick reports. Dan, why don't you give us some project updates?
The pond is finally filled at the park, and it is now icing over. The contractor is currently working on finishing the inside of the bathrooms. We have a few miscellaneous items to finish up in the spring as far as landscaping and striping the parking lots, but a majority of the project is completed. The aquatic center continues to go vertical. They definitely got a taste of winter over the last week, but they were still able to successfully pour several floor slabs, so we're still working in the right direction of a ribbon cutting.
Thanks, Dan. Sally, you had something?
Thank you. What I have are new zoning maps for the council that I'll distribute to you after the meeting this evening. But I did want to mention that this is done in GIS, and we lost our GIS expert when Barb Larson retired. So Kelly Simpkins and Dave Burgess have stepped up to learn GIS, and Dave completed the zoning map here just a couple of weeks ago. So we want to make sure that you have a copy of it, and the primary changes that were made were the rezonings of the Tamarack Tech Park in order to add multifamily zone up there. The annexation of Teller County Waste is on here, and a few other little tweaks, but we're pretty glad and proud to have a new zoning map.
May I ask a question? Yeah. Is there a possibility we can have an interactive digital version of it besides just a PDF? Is that something that's possible? I'm just asking.
It's something we would have to look into. I know when we first received our GIS package, URS was into that. Our consultant at the time, it would take some upgrades of the software and monitoring of that. But we could look into it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. Suzanne?
Mayor Pro Tem, Council, staff, audience, as a lot of you know, Jessica Memmer is leaving the city. Tonight is her very last council meeting. Her final departure is tomorrow at 11 a.m., and I'd like to publicly thank Jessica for her service to the City of Woodland Park, the service to the community, citizens, and all that she's done for me personally. So she will be missed. Thank you very much, Jessica.
And that's all we have this evening, Mayor Pro Tem.
Jessica, we won't ask you to make any comments, but I will truly miss you, and I wish you the best of luck.
Safe trips and Merry Christmas.
We have no other comments, then this meeting is adjourned.
Downtown was on.
Yes, he didn't have a report.
Good. Stifled it.